You ever notice how life doesn't always ask for your permission before it takes a turn? One day you're coasting down a straight, smooth stretch, sun in your face, music just right, and then without warning, you're staring at a fork in the road you didn't see coming. Maybe it's a setback, maybe it's a temptation, maybe it's a storm you didn't order. Here's the thing, you don't control the road. Never have, never will. Roads twist, they crack. They throw you detours, dead ends, and stretches so long you start to wonder if you're even moving at all. You can't change the grade of the hill or the sharpness of the curve, but you do control the steering wheel. And that, my friend, changes everything. Your mind is that wheel. The way you think, the way you frame a moment, the way you decide what matters and what doesn't, that's the part you've got both hands on. If the road is rough but your grip is steady, you can still keep the car between the lines. You can still keep moving forward. Now, that doesn't mean you won't feel the bumps. It doesn't mean you won't get rattled. It means you decide how to correct the course. You decide when to slow down, when to swerve, when to keep pressing that gas pedal even when the rain's hitting sideways. See, most people hand over their wheel without even realizing it. They let somebody else's opinion take the driver's seat. They let the economy, the headlines, the comment section steer for them. And then they're surprised when they wind up somewhere they never wanted to be. If you don't steer your own mind, you're just a passenger in your own life. And that's the trap. Thinking the road is responsible for where you end up. Thinking that if the map were just better, if the traffic were lighter, if the weather were clearer, you'd make it. Truth is, the road is never perfect. It's never going to be. But your steering can be sharp. Your eyes can stay up. Your focus can stay locked in on where you're going instead of what's in your way. Because here's what happens when you train your mind like that. You stop flinching at every curve. You stop panicking when the light turns yellow. You stop blaming the road and you start respecting the wheel. You understand that it's not about getting the smoothest ride. It's about mastering the control you already have. And when you do that, you realize it doesn't matter how wild the road gets. You can still aim the hood toward the horizon you want to reach. Life has a way of throwing you curveballs you didn't order. You plan for straight lines, you get zigzags. You plan for calm seas, you get waves high enough to block out the sun. And in those moments, it's easy to feel like the story's already been written for you. That this right here is the chapter where you lose. But here's the truth, most people miss every setback is also a message. It's a test, a teacher, sometimes even a blessing in disguise, but only if you're willing to flip the script. You see, a setback is just a moment where reality says, let's see what you're really made of. Most folks stop there. They take the hit, they feel the sting, and they call it the end of the road. But the ones who win, they read between the lines. They start looking for the hidden door inside the brick wall. The trick is simple, but it isn't easy. Stop asking, why me? And start asking, what now? That small shift turns you from a victim into a strategist. It's the difference between staring at the wreckage and scanning the wreckage for pieces you can still use. Maybe you didn't get the job, but now you have the freedom to chase something that actually fires you up. Maybe the relationship ended, but now you've been handed back the time and space to figure out who you are without someone else's shadow on you. It's not about pretending the pain isn't real. It's about deciding that the pain is going to be fuel instead of an anchor. When you frame it that way, you start to see that a setback isn't a stop sign. It's a detour. And sometimes the detour takes you past places you never would have seen if you'd stayed on the original road. History is packed with people who turned losses into launch pads. Athletes cut from the team who came back sharper, faster, hungrier. Entrepreneurs whose first business crashed so hard they could still feel the dust years later, and then built the next one with lessons you can't find in books. Every win you've ever seen has a trail of setbacks behind it, each one laying bricks for the foundation that success now stands on. So when life knocks you down, don't just think about how to get back to where you were. Think about how you can use the momentum of the fall to push yourself somewhere better. Treat every misstep as a clue. Treat every no as a nudge, because the truth is, some doors only open after the one you wanted slams shut. And if you're too busy staring at the closed one, you'll never notice the one just down the hall that's standing wide open. We live in a world that loves the quick win. Fast food, fast money, fast fame, everything's about now. And when now doesn't show up fast enough, most people give up and walk away. But the truth is, the good stuff, the real stuff takes time. It's not a sprint. It's not even a marathon. It's a lifetime of showing up, one small decision at a time, over and over again. Playing the long game means you stop keeping score after every play. You don't panic when you're down in the first quarter. You don't celebrate like it's all over when you're ahead for a moment. You understand that the game is bigger than the scoreboard right now. You understand that patience isn't sitting around waiting. Patience is working while you wait. Here's the thing about the long game. It requires a kind of vision most people don't want to practice. You've got to be able to see past the storm in front of you to the sky on the other side. You've got to believe that the seeds you plant today are worth watering tomorrow, next month, next year, even when you can't see a single green shoot breaking through the dirt yet. When you play the short game, you chase comfort. You grab whatever's easiest, fastest, closest. But the short game robs you of depth. It cheats you out of the satisfaction that comes from building something that lasts. The long game, it asks more of you, more discipline, more resilience, more willingness to take hits now for the payoff later. Think about a craftsman. The one who makes a table that lasts for generations doesn't rush the cut, doesn't skip the sanding, doesn't settle for the cheap glue. They take the time because they know the product has to outlive them. That's what the long game is. You're building a life, a body of work, a set of principles that's still standing when the trends fade and the noise dies down. But here's the hard part. The long game will test you. It'll make you question yourself when you're doing everything right and nothing seems to move. It'll throw distractions in your path that look shinier, easier, more exciting. It'll whisper in your ear that maybe this isn't worth it, maybe you're wasting your time. And this is where you have to decide whether you're here for the instant high or the lasting reward. Because the long game doesn't pay you in applause, it pays you in quiet victories, in skills nobody can take from you, in strength you didn't have last year. It pays you in knowing that you didn't just get lucky. You earned it brick by brick, day by day. And when you're playing it right, you start to realize the clock isn't your enemy, it's your partner, and every minute is another chance to build something. That motivation is a spark. Feels good when it hits. Gets the engine humming, makes you want to run a mile, write a chapter, chase the dream. But sparks fade, they always do. You can't build a fire that lasts on sparks alone. That's where discipline comes in. Discipline is the wood, the structure, the fuel that keeps the fire going when the spark's long gone. Everybody loves the feeling of being motivated. It's exciting, it's fresh, it's loud. But motivation is like the weather, changes by the hour. One day you wake up ready to conquer the world. The next you can't even conquer your alarm clock. Discipline doesn't care about the weather. Discipline shows up whether the sun's out or it's pouring sideways. Discipline is doing the thing you said you'd do, long after the mood you said it and has left the building. It's keeping the promise to yourself when nobody's watching, when nobody's clapping, when nobody would even notice if you quit. It's the quiet, unglamorous grind of choosing the action over the excuse. And here's the twist. Discipline is not about punishment, it's about alignment. You're not forcing yourself to do something you hate. You're training yourself to do what's necessary to get where you want to go, even when you don't feel like it. Because the truth is, your feelings will betray you sometimes. They'll tell you to stay in bed, to skip the workout, to put it off until tomorrow. Discipline steps in and says, no, we move today. You don't become disciplined overnight. It's built in the little moments. Saying no to the shortcut. Saying yes to the extra rep. Shutting down the distractions before they shut down your progress. Every time you choose the harder right over the easier wrong, you're stacking bricks in the wall that will hold you steady when the storms hit. Motivation gets you to the starting line. Discipline gets you to the finish line, and then to the next one. It's what separates the people who talk about what they want from the people who live what they want. Because discipline doesn't wait for the perfect mood, the perfect timing, or the perfect circumstances. It acts in spite of imperfections. And here's the magic of it. The more disciplined you become, the less you have to rely on motivation at all. You stop waiting to feel ready. You stop depending on a mood to move you. You just move. And that movement builds momentum, and momentum builds results. And results create the kind of confidence that no burst of temporary motivation could ever give you. Discipline is the bridge between wanting something and having it. It's the hand that stays on the wheel when the road gets boring or bumpy or both. It's the thing that makes sure that even when the music fades, the engine keeps running, the wheels keep turning, and the distance between you and your goal keeps shrinking, no matter how most people get stuck in the moment. Whatever's right in front of them feels like the whole world. A bad day feels like a bad life. A single no feels like the end of the story. A small win feels like they've already crossed the finish line. But here's the truth. The moment is just a frame, not the whole movie. And if you let a single frame define the whole picture, you'll never see what it was building toward. Seeing beyond the immediate is about perspective. It's about stepping back far enough to understand that today's pain might be tomorrow's strength, that today's delay might be tomorrow's perfect timing. It's resisting the urge to make permanent decisions based on temporary emotions. Because the moment is loud, but the bigger picture whispers. And you can only hear it if you're willing to look past the noise. Think about climbing a mountain. If your eyes are glued to the dirt under your boots, every step feels heavy, every rock feels like a wall. But if you lift your gaze every now and then, you start to see the trail winding upward, the valley falling away behind you, the peak pulling closer. The climb doesn't get easier, but your mind understands why you're still climbing. Life works the same way. Right now, you might be in the middle of a season that feels endless. Maybe it's the grind of building something. Maybe it's the weight of a problem that won't go away. In the immediate, all you see is the effort, the frustration, the slow drip of progress. But if you zoom out, you start to see the shape of what you're building. You start to realize that the delay isn't denial, it's preparation. When you see beyond the immediate, you stop reacting to every bump in the road like it's a crash. You start making decisions based on where you want to end up, not just where you happen to be standing. And that's powerful, because it means you're no longer controlled by the heat of the moment. You're playing chess instead of checkers. You're thinking 5 moves ahead instead of just the one in front of you. This isn't about ignoring the present. It's about putting it in its proper place. The present is where you act, but it's not where you anchor your identity. You can feel the frustration without letting it dictate your future. You can enjoy the win without assuming the game's over. You can be fully in the moment while still knowing it's just one chapter in a much bigger book. The ones who master this, they don't get thrown off course as easily. They can take a hit and keep moving. They can resist shortcuts that look good now but cost them later. They can wait for the right wave instead of chasing the first ripple. And because of that, they end up where they intended to go instead of where the moment tried to. The world will always have something to say. It'll hand you headlines that stir fear, people who test your patience, moments that poke at your doubts. If you're not careful, you'll spend your whole life letting the outside world dictate your inside world. You'll wake up feeling fine, then one conversation, one post, one piece of bad news will take the wheel. But the truth is, your state of mind is your responsibility. If you don't own it, something or someone else will. Owning your state of mind means drawing the line between what happens to you and what happens in you. It's the understanding that you can't always choose your circumstances, but you can choose your response. That choice is power. That choice is freedom. Without it, you're just a leaf in the wind, at the mercy of every gust, every storm. With it, you're the captain of your own weather. No matter what the sky looks like outside, it's not about pretending everything's fine when it's not. It's about deciding how you'll think, how you'll feel, and how you'll act in the middle of what's real. Because the minute you believe the world decides your mood, your focus, your direction, you've handed over the keys, and you can't win if you're not the one driving. Your state of mind is shaped in the small, unseen moments. It's built in how you talk to yourself when nobody's listening, in whether you feed your mind junk or fuel it with something that makes you stronger. It's in the discipline of pulling yourself back to center when the noise tries to drag you off course. When you own it, you stop letting every setback knock you into a spiral. You stop letting every win make you careless. You become steady. People might wonder why you're calm when things are falling apart, or why you're focused when everyone else is distracted. That's because they're reading the weather outside, and you're reading the compass inside. The danger in not owning your state of mind is that the world will happily fill the gap for you. It'll sell you fear, feed you outrage, and push you toward whatever reaction benefits it most. You'll start to think those are your own thoughts, but they're not. They're just echoes from whatever you've allowed in. That's why you have to guard the gates. Be deliberate about what you let shape you, because it will. Owning your state of mind is a practice. Some days you'll nail it. Other days you'll feel yourself slipping, and you'll have to pull yourself back again and again. But that's the point. It's not about never getting knocked off balance. It's about knowing you can steady yourself. When you can do that, the outside world can shout, can spin, can throw everything it's got. And you'll still be right there, holding the wheel, moving toward where you chose to life. One hand you perfect roads, perfect timing, or perfect conditions. But if you train your mind to steer with intention, to turn losses into lessons, to think beyond the moment, to build with discipline, to play for the long run, and to guard your inner state, you can win in ways the scoreboard can't measure. Because winning isn't just about the outcome, it's about who you become along the way. The road will twist, The storms will come, but the driver you've trained will always find a way to keep moving toward the destination you chose.